I believe that Islam is an antichrist religion and that Muhammad is a false prophet. That's what I believe for theological reasons. I could show you the verses in the Bible that back up that belief. In one of John's epistles, the Bible very, very clearly states that who is he that is antichrist? But he that denieth the Father and the Son. In other words, a denial of the deity of Jesus Christ and a denial of the fatherhood of God. And Islam, at its core, denies the deity of Jesus Christ and denies the fatherhood of God. It's a religion that believes in the strict oneness of God. That God is one and he has no son. The Quran says it time and time again. And in fact, on the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem, it's written in bold letters in Arabic, Allah is one, Allah has no son, or words to that effect. Why am I saying this? And why is this important? Well, that's what I believe. And in the same way that Muslims believe that the Quran is the final revelation from God and that Muhammad is the prophet of Allah, as they call God. They believe that. I believe exactly the opposite. I believe that Islam is against everything that Christianity stands for. Not just the deity of Christ, his atoning sacrifice, his death on the cross, and of course his resurrection from the dead. The Quran denies all these things. But why is this important? Well, today in Batley, in Yorkshire, there was a protest of Islamic extremists chanting verses from the Quran and demanding, metaphorically, the head of one of the teachers from a school in Batley on a spike. I say that metaphorically. It's not too far of a stretch, because this is how it started with the French school teacher that was eventually beheaded by jihadists. They demanded his resignation. When they didn't get his resignation, they got his head, because jihadists went and murdered him. And the people that incited that violence, I believe they've all been arrested and charged with murder. But of course, it's too late for the school teacher. And what is happening? What's it coming to in the United Kingdom when we're in a position where we literally cannot express our firmly held religious beliefs? Now, I don't know whether that school teacher was an atheist, a Christian, a Hindu, a Buddhist, even a Sufi Muslim. I don't know anything about him. I don't know what he was, and I don't care what he was and what background he came from. But what I care about is the fact that that man has now been suspended from his job, that a mob of Islamic extremists gathered outside the gates of that school and intimidated the school, the headmaster, and got the teacher suspended. What for? For showing pictures of the false prophet Muhammad. For showing pictures that have been published worldwide as a result of the Charlie Hebdo magazines. And remember, Charlie Hebdo have blasphemed against the God of Christianity for many, many years. I haven't seen any devout Catholics or any devout evangelical Christians going in there with an AK-47 and murdering everybody in the offices. I don't like people speaking against Christianity. I find it offensive. It's the truth. But what I'm not going to do is stop people speaking against Christianity. Many of the people that I've been closest to for many years are atheists and unbelievers. And that is their prerogative and that is their choice. But not in the world of the Islamic extremists. And are we coming to a stage now in Britain where you cannot express your religious beliefs freely? I had Atheist Steve on my live stream a few weeks ago, We had a very, very long dialogue. Never once would I dream of censoring him and telling him he couldn't talk about what he believes in, and we've discussed his religious beliefs on many occasions. So why do Muslims go ballistic every time somebody says something that they find offensive or threatening? And is that acceptable in a liberal democracy in the 21st century in the United Kingdom? I don't think it is. I don't think it is. We should have the right to critique and debate their religion with them and without them. We should have the right to insult their scriptures. We should have the right to insult the false prophet. We should have the right to tell the truth to Muslims about Muhammad, because a lot of them are very ignorant about Muhammad. A lot of them are not knowledgeable about the hadiths and some of the horrendous stories of the life of Muhammad and what he got up to and what he said and what he believed. Many Muslims sadly do not know that sort of stuff, and they need to be exposed to that sort of stuff. They need to be exposed to critical thinking about the Quran and about Islam. That is doing Muslims a favor. That is helping Muslims, because many of them are caught in chains. They're chained to that religion. And I've always said, since I started doing this and since I started making videos, my argument is not with Muslims. Muslims are victims of Islam. My argument is with the texts that they follow and with the false prophet that they idolize and love so much. Because I believe that Muhammad has poisoned culture for the past 1400 years, and the effect he has had in the Middle East, in Africa, in South Asia, and now obviously with mass Muslim migration throughout the rest of the globe, has been catastrophic for the world. And some estimates, I think, believe that maybe 250 million people have been killed in the name of Muhammad and in the name of Islam. And the majority of those were killed before the weapons of mass destruction came into play that armies have messed about with in the past 100 years. Most of those were killed by the sword. Many were killed by starvation. Many were killed in slavery. All in the name of Muhammad and all in the name of Islam. And now this school teacher in Batley, this young man, by the courage of his conviction, showing caricatures of Muhammad, I would imagine he will have to go into hiding. He has been suspended from his job, and his life is genuinely in danger. And that's what we're up against in the 21st century. Like I say, I genuinely have compassion for people that are brainwashed by this cult and believe and follow this false religion. It oppresses women. It is misogynistic. It is supremacist. It treats Jews and Christians as second-class citizens. And if it's followed to the letter, it demands the subjugation and killing of infidels, kafir, or non-believers. And nobody's talking about it anymore. Everybody's gone quiet. There's nothing to see here. Well, there is plenty to see. Because the poison of radical, extremist, literalistic, conservative jihadism is spreading throughout the world. It hasn't stopped spreading. And we saw a fine example of it today outside Batley. What do we do, folks? I don't have the answers, but I know one thing: we need to talk about it. And we need to talk about what do we do with radical extremist jihadism in our midst. See you all soon.